Business credit is amazing. Yes, it is. Now, what is business credit? Business credit is basically your financial reputation of your company that allows you to secure loans, credit lines, and favorable terms from suppliers. So in a nutshell, you have your personal credit with which you build through your ITIN or your social security number, through personal accounts, credit cards, loans, installments, etc. And you have business credit, which is basically separate from your personal credit. Now, this gives you the opportunity to build credit on another level and to basically separate your personal credit from your business credit. Now, there are two different types of business credit. I'm going to get into this more in the next few slides, but just to give you a nutshell idea, a basic overview, you have business credit that you can attain by using your good personal credit, all right, that you've built up on the personal side, and you can access business credit with this credential, all right? And there's a second way of getting business credit, and that is using business credit solely on its own. So that's when you're building up your business credit through your EIN with business trade lines, business accounts, building up your financial reputation on that side, showing lenders and vendors that you have the ability, or that your business has the ability to pay your debts. Now, there's a ton of benefits that come with having business credit and getting access to business credit cards. But just to name a few, the top three ones that I consider to be the most beneficial to business owners is, number one, is you can get higher credit limits. Okay, the general idea is that the personal limits that you have on your personal side, you can actually get 5 times as high as those limits on the business side. All right, so if you have a Chase account and you have a personal card over there, and let's say you have a $10,000 credit card, well, you can get up to 5 times this amount. So you can get up to $50,000 on a 0% interest business credit card. And sometimes you can even get higher limits than this, okay? If your personal credit profile is structured properly, you can definitely get access to these high limits on the business side. And the second thing is, everyone knows about the Chase 524 rule and the 524 status that states that if you have 5 accounts in the last 24 months, in the last 2 years, then you are not eligible to get any more cards with Chase. And that's on the personal side as well as the business side. But the kicker is, business credit cards do not count towards your 524 status. So if you have a 424 status, or you have 4 cards in the last 24 months on the personal side, and you don't want to hit that 524 status, you don't want to lock yourself out of the Chase ecosystem, you can actually start applying for business credit cards, and the cards that you get over there are not going to count towards that 524 status. But it's important to understand that if you are at 524, you cannot get personal cards with Chase, you cannot get business card with Chase until you fall below that 524, okay? So once you reach 424, or the first card of your 5 cards ages past 24 months. And the third and most beneficial attribute to having business credit is that it does not affect your personal credit utilization. And what I mean by this is that your credit utilization obviously counts toward your personal credit score. If you are running high balances on your credit cards, it's going to bring your credit score way down because it accounts for 30% of your credit score. But the beauty of these business credit cards is, if you have high balances on your business cards, all right, you've got cards that are maxed out, you know, you're scaling your business, you've made an investment where you can't pay the card off in a short period of time, then this credit utilization on these business cards do not count towards your personal credit score. A lot of people don't know this, and that's why entrepreneurs are always striving to get business credit, because they can make their investments, they can give themselves that little grace period where they're waiting to bring in profits so they can pay off the card without affecting their personal credit score. So the only things that really count towards your personal credit score is the hard inquiries that you're going to get whenever you apply for these business cards. Now, there are really 2 main types of business credit. We kind of touched on this, but you have personal guarantee and you have non-personal guarantee, okay? We call that PG and non-PG. So starting off with personal guarantee, this is basically where you're going to use your personal credit profile, okay? If you've built up a very fine credit profile on the personal side, you've got high limits, you've got a variety of accounts, all right? You've got credit cards, you've got installment loans, maybe you have auto loans and mortgages, and you can use this great personal credit profile to apply for business credit. Now, a lot of people strive to get to the non-personal guarantee part of the business credit world just because they want to separate their personal from their business. But if you have a personal credit profile that is going to make you look attractive to banks, then I always suggest to use this, especially when you're starting out. So what are the requirements? Number one is, most banks are going to require your business to be active for at least 2 years. Other than with American Express, American Express will give you a business account as long as you have a personal credit card with them. They'll give you a business account at any time. So I think when I opened my LLC, I got my account with American Express after, I think it was in the first month. I opened up a business checking account with them. I deposited some money and I applied for a business credit card 3 weeks later. And I got the account. They gave me $25K, which was pretty good at the time. So they are definitely a good option to start out with if you have a new business and maybe you can't travel, you can't get to the States to open up business accounts. Amex is definitely a great option for you to start out with. Usually you're going to want to have at least a 700 FICO score, okay? If you want to have an optimal score and you want to go in there and you want to give them some credentials where when they look at your credit profile, they're going to look at you as a shoe-in for high credit lines, I would shoot to have at least a 740. Anything of 740 and above is going to put you in that excellent range, and that's going to give you way better chances of getting high limit funding with any of these banks, all right? It used to be a 680, but banks are starting to tighten up their lending conditions, and that doesn't mean that you can't get funding with them. It just means that they want to give funding to the right people. They want to give it to people who are demonstrating financial responsibility. Now, you're going to want to have 3 to 5 personal accounts with at least $2,500 limits. Every bank's going to be a little bit different. I'm going to use Chase as an example here because I have exact data points from them because I spoke with them. And the inside information that they gave to me was that they don't consider your personal credit age so much, as opposed to they want to see that you have a variety of accounts on that personal side. All right, you got to have credit cards, you want to have installment loans. If you can get a hold of mortgages and auto loans, this would be extremely beneficial for you. But they want to see that you have at least 3 accounts, and they want to see that you have high limits on those accounts. So they're looking at the 10K plus credit lines. So that's why it's important when you're building up your personal credit profile, when you're getting these credit cards on the personal side, to always try and get these credit limit increases on your personal credit cards. That way, when it's time to get business credit, you can have 10K plus limits on your credit cards, no problem. So these are the basic requirements. I mean, if you really want to schmooze these guys, if you want to go in there guns a-blazing, and you want to show that you are a good candidate to get high limit funding on the business side, I always suggest to have at least 5 accounts on that personal side, and you should have an overall limit of credit limits of $50,000 plus. All right. And that's not hard to do, guys. So once you have your accounts, you have your stationary accounts or your foundational accounts, it's important to ask for a credit limit increase every 91 days, okay? Banks work on 90-day cycles. That just means that every 3 months, you can request a credit limit increase on your cards. Maybe you won't always get it, but you're still going to be eligible. Now, I know a lot of people say you should go for the credit limit increases every 6 months. This is kind of a safe zone to go with. But I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Either you're going to get a credit limit increase or you're not going to get one. Now, the second way of getting business funding is through a non-personal guarantee. Now, this is where your funding eligibility is going to be solely relying on your business's creditworthiness. All right. So this is when you're going to be keeping your personal assets separate from your business. Okay. Now, the reason why I always suggest to start out with the personal guarantee funding is because unless your business is generating over $2 million a year and you have business financials, you have financial documents, financial statements that you can give to them to show that your business is actually making money, then they're not going to consider you for this non-personal guarantee funding. Now, you're also going to need 2 years in business and an 80 Paydex score. Now, your Paydex score is just basically your business's credit score that you're going to get from Dun & Bradstreet, which you're going to learn about in a few moments here. And that's just going to judge whether or not your business is considered credible and that you are least likely to default on your. Hey, if you want to learn a lot more credit building tips like these, specifically pertaining to non-residents with ITINs, then follow me on Instagram at US Market Mastery, where I am sharing daily credit tips and travel hacks. Hope to see you on the other side. One of the most important things that you need to take care of before you go for business funding is making sure that your business is set up correctly. Now, I want you to look at this document here, and you can click on this to get the full article. But this is basically an article from the Cornell Law School. And what it does is it talks about what is a person. What does Congress consider a person? The words person and whoever include corporations, companies, associations, firms, partnerships, societies, and joint stock companies, as well as individuals. So why am I telling you this? Whenever you are using your business to get funding, you want to make sure that this thing is identifiable. The same way that you identify yourself when you go in, you open up a personal bank account, you go for personal credit cards, all right, you have a name, you have a phone number, you have an email. These are all things that banks look at when you apply for business funding. So they're looking at your business as a person. So you want to make your business look like a person in the sense that you have all these credentials and you make sure that your business is findable. So look at this guy here. This is Bob, all right? So I want to look at two different kind of ID cards from Bob the person and Bob the business. So Bob's easy to find because he has a name, he has an address, he has a phone number, he has social media, and he has an email address. Now, when we look at Bob's business, we want these two to look very similar because banks naturally are going to look up your business. They are going to see that you have all these credentials to make sure that you're legitimate. All right. They don't want to lend to businesses that don't have these things in order because honestly, anyone can go out there and start a business. But if it's not set up properly, it's not set up professionally, then these banks aren't going to want to lend you money. So Bob's business has a business name. Bob's business has a business address, it has a business phone number, has a business website. This is very important because banks, they're going to go look up your business, whether you think they will or not. When you go to do an application, it's very easy for them to just Google you, okay? They're going to see if you have a website and all these other credentials, including your business email. We want to make your business look as professional as possible. Your business name, it should not look like anything that seems like a risky business because banks have these lists they can look up. Okay, they have restricted industries lists where they can look up your business name. And if there's anything in there that displays anything that is sort of a risky venture, then they're going to be less likely to lend you money. And even if they do, they're going to lend you a lot less than you are probably going to expect. You look at businesses with the name construction, anything to do with cannabis, anything to do with finance or credit or real estate. These things you do not want to have in your business name, all right? Make your business name as general as possible. You know, you have a consulting group or a management consulting or any type of management company. These are all things that are a lot less risky because they have a lot less overhead and there are a lot less ways that you can default on your business debts. Business address, this is very important as well. I know a lot of people start up new businesses and they use their home address. First of all, this is an unsafe thing to do because if you have a customer or multiple customers that are not happy with your services, they can locate where you live. And there's a lot of crazy people out there. I wouldn't put it past anyone to show up at your door. This is definitely something that you don't want to have on your back and you don't want to put your family in jeopardy. Business phone number, this is another important thing. So you want to have a local area code phone number or a 1-800 number. So you have to look at it this way. Anytime you walk into a bank or a big business, all right, let's say you walk into a Chase Bank, you go sit down with a bank teller. All right, they're going to have a business card with a business phone number. They're going to have their business address, business name, business website. These are all things that you should have with your business as well. They want to do business with people that look like them. Now, when it comes down to your business name, it is super important that your business name is consistent across all documents, okay? Your bank accounts, your articles of incorporation, anything to do with your company that your bank or your lender can look up. Because once you start having inconsistencies in these things and the banks, these lenders, they're looking your business up and they see that you have, let's say you had Da Costa Group LLC on one document and you had Da Costa Group on another, and then you had Da Costa Group Consulting on another. Well, these are all red flags and this is going to seriously limit the amount of funding that you can get from these guys. Now, before you choose a business name, you want to first check that it's available. And there's a link right here called namecheck.com. You can click on this link. It's going to open up this website right here. And you can look up the name of the business that you want to find because you want to make sure that the name that you choose is going to be available when you go to get your website domain. Because if you choose a business name, let's say you've chosen Frank's Hot Dogs, and then you want to go get frankshotdogs.com, but it's not available, well, now you're going to have to start choosing different variations, and it's just going to cause a little bit of inconsistency in your business identity. So come on in here, let's type in Frank's Hot Dogs, boom. And we will see if this is available. So these are all the domains that are available that are associated with Frank's Hot Dogs. Obviously, Frank's Hot Dogs is already taken because this is probably one of the first or the most generic name for a hot dog vendor. But you have all these variations here. So make sure you check, make sure you have the domain available. That way you can seamlessly start up your website and start the identification process for your business. Second thing is you want to make sure that you are not on any sort of restricted list. So banks have access to these lists. These are basically lists that show business types that are considered to be high risk or low risk. And if you have a high risk business type and you go to apply for funding, let's say you are going to be eligible for a $50,000 credit card with Chase, then they find out that your name is on the one of the restricted lists or a high risk list. That's going to seriously diminish the amount that you would be eligible for. So you might have gone from 50,000 down to 25,000, all right? And then let's say you don't have a website. Well, now you just lost a few more thousand. and you don't have a proper business phone number, well, now you just lost a few more thousand. So all of these are major checkpoints that you should have before you go for business funding in order to maximize what you can be eligible for. So just as an example, let's click on this list here. All right. You can see a long list of different types of businesses that are considered high risk. All the financial services, banks, credit unions, lenders, debt and tax reduction services. You've got some miscellaneous ones here, restaurants, construction, all things that have high overhead or have a, you look at construction, someone could get hurt on the job very easily. That could cause some financial array, maybe some legal issues. Okay, so payroll companies, brokerage, notaries, pawn shops, adult entertainment, drug dispensaries, all those ones are pretty much a given, but just scour through this list. Make sure that you're not choosing anything that falls under any one of these categories. And there's also a second list here, restricted list number 2, allow all these cash intensive businesses, that you can kind of muster your books around in order to make your business look like it's not bringing in as much as it actually is. You've got high risk businesses, and these are all categorized by NAICS codes. So these are basically 6-digit codes that you usually have to put in on your business credit applications that will basically just bring up these categories, and they're going to show the banks whether or not you are in a high risk business or not. Now, your business address is very important as well. We already kind of touched on this. You want to make sure that you have an address with a real brick and mortar building, okay? No home addresses, no PO boxes, no UPS addresses. You want to look professional. You want to show these banks that you actually have a place where you do business. You don't necessarily have to be there presently, but you want to show that you have something that they can look up, all right? They're going to Google you. They're going to look you up on Google. If they can't see your business on Google Maps, then you are considered to be non-fundable because you are not findable. Now, you can have a address only where you can receive mail and packages at your business address. Another thing is having a virtual address. This is basically a professional business address where you can get a dedicated phone and fax number, receptionist services, part-time use of fully furnished offices, and meeting rooms. So you can look at companies like Opus or Regis. They all have packages that allow you to basically rent office spaces for a fee. And the last thing is just having a registered agent. Now, you can use a registered agent address. Some banks do not accept them. I know Citi will require you to have a virtual office or a virtual address, but with Chase, they will accept a registered agent address as long as there is no PO box attached to it. If you are here with an ITIN, you're a non-resident, then you will have to have a registered agent to open up your LLC. And if you're looking for one, you can just search registered agent plus the state that you're doing business in. So if you're opening a LLC in Wyoming, you're just going to type in on Google registered agent Wyoming, okay? And you're going to see a long list of different vendors there that can help you open up your LLC. They can give you registered agent services where you can get all these things like the phone number, the fax, the address. They probably have website services, everything to do with your business. They're going to keep you compliant. They're going to let you know when any tax deadlines are coming up. Anything to do with business compliance, these guys are going to notify you on. Lenders perceive your 1-800 number or your local area code business phone number as a form of business credibility. So we never want to use our personal cell phones, all right? We want to use a dedicated business line so that, when someone calls up your business, they're going to either get you on the phone or someone who works for your business, or they're going to get an automated message that comes from you or someone from your business. Even if you're a sole owner of the business, you want to look credible, you want to look very professional, you want to look like a real business. So super simple and easy to do. You can literally go to freedomvoice.com and pick up a phone service there for $9.99, or culture.com. There is a bunch of different services out there. I mean, you can even get this number right directly from your registered agent. Just remember, never use your personal cell phone. Never mix your personal with your business, okay? You can also get these business phone numbers, these virtual numbers, where you can actually get your personal line hooked up to this thing. So anytime someone calls your business number, that will actually get forwarded to your personal phone. That way you're always receiving calls at all times and you're never going to have a missed call on there. So super easy way to get going with your business phone number. Anytime you go to apply for credit or you go to open a bank account, the easiest thing for a teller or a banker to do when they are looking over your application is, they're in front of a computer. So it's very simple for everyone to just go to Google, type in that person's or that business's website. If there's nothing there, then this just means that, look, you've tried to demonstrate to them that you're a credible business, you're a professional business, but you don't even have a way for people to contact you online. And obviously online is the biggest platform in the world, all right? The easiest place for anyone to go research, look for services, look for products. So if you don't have a website set up and you're trying to get business funding, you're trying to open up accounts with these banks, they're going to look at you as a little mute in the business world, okay? So just remember, this website doesn't have to be something extravagant, all right? It is just something that you need to have in order to present to the banks, okay? Consider it your identity card for your business. Now, if you click on down here, Savvy Relations is a resource that you can use if you want to have a website built. Obviously, there's a ton of resources out there that you can find. This is just an example. But you will see down here, Tyler's website. If you click on this right here, you will see my website. And as you can see, it is complete shit, all right? There is nothing extravagant about this whatsoever. You just need to have something that basically shows your business. Maybe it has a list of your services or just a way for customers or leads to be able to contact you so that they can consult with you and go over your business products. I mean, look at this. This is very basic. I don't even remember when I did this actually, but this is what I use because I run a consulting business. Obviously, I'm more focused on the credit side of things, consulting, but since credit is a high-risk industry, I'm not going to put that on my applications, all right? So just a little background about us, a little testimonial there, and a little bit about myself, the founder and CEO. Look, I don't even have a beard here. Look, baby smooth skin. I think I was like 27 in this photo. So yeah, and then of course, then there's a link to schedule a call. It's not active right now, but whenever I'm about to do applications, open accounts, do any sort of business applications, I'm going to make sure this calendar is connected so it looks live, and just the location of the business. Very simple. All right, and then of course at the bottom, a spot where you can just send an email so you can contact us and inquire about our services. Like I said, if you don't want to pay for a service, you don't want to pay someone to build a website for you, it's not in your budget, or you want to do it yourself, you can do a website on your own. You can just make one with Google, or of course just Google free website builder. There's a ton of AI web builders out there where you can just input your business details, maybe your brand colors, any sort of photos you want to add in there, and it will generate you a basic website that looks pretty clean in a matter of seconds. Now, another super simple thing that you can do for your business is get a business email address, all right? Not only is it professional, it's also going to enhance your ability to get funding, right? You want to have a professional name. You don't want to use any of your personal email addresses, no Hotmail accounts, no Yahoo accounts, all right? You should have something at yourcompanyname.com. So support at yourcompany.com, sales at yourcompany.com, info at yourcompany.com. Any one of those will do. Something that looks like it's an actual business, all right? So there's a ton of places you can get these as well. You can get these from your registered agent. They usually provide a service where you're going to pay a monthly fee and they'll provide this for you. But you can also go just to Google Workspace. Let's click on this link here. Open up a Google G Suite account. You're going to get a business email address with that and a business profile that you can use for your business and just keep everything organized. All right, so very simple, easy, inexpensive thing to do to make your company look professional. Now, I once heard a quote from one of my mentors, and when I heard this, it just clicked. He said, in order to be fundable, you have to be findable. So that just means you want your business listed on public networks so that you're easy to find, right? You don't want to make it difficult for bank underwriters to be able to find you, because if they can't find you, it's going to look suspect on their end, and it's going to make you look like you're not very professional, and you just want to make things easy for them. If you want them to give you money, you want to make their life as easy as possible, and you want to make your business look as professional as possible. So I always recommend to list your business on different resources, including listyourself.net. List yourself on Google, on Bing, Yahoo, Yelp, and you're going to upload some information about your business. And that way, when someone goes to Google you or they go to look you up online, there's going to be publications there that are attached to your business. Now, you want to make sure that all of your listings are consistent and they are accurate, all right? You don't want to have different business names, different business addresses, different business phone numbers. Make sure that you're always using the same information across all platforms. That way, there's going to be no inconsistencies in your business, and it's just going to create uniformity across all official records. And this is going to prevent you from having potential issues down the line. Your business bank account history plays a crucial role in your ability to secure larger credit lines in the future, directly impacting your company's financial growth and success. Banking history is one of the most important factors when you're going after business funding, because this is how you're going to establish a relationship with your lender. They want to see that you have a business account with them. They want to see that you have revenue coming into this account. Okay, you've got cash flow coming in this account. They want to know that you have a way to pay your bills, your debts, and that you can cover expenses. And this is the easiest way to do it. Any bank that you're planning to get funding from, you want to go open up a business checking and a savings account, at least a checkings account. This way you have much higher potential of securing funding, and your borrowing potential becomes more attainable. All right, you want to have this account for at least 3 months before you open up any sort of credit accounts with your bank. The longer your banking history is, the better the relationship is that you're going to have with that bank. So I mentioned before, banks work on 90-day cycles. So that's why I always say, go in and open an account at least 3 months before you're going to open up or apply for business funding. That way they have significant records to look on. They can check back and see that you have money coming in and out of this thing, and that you can be a shoo-in for this get high limits. Credit unions are often looked at as the best for new businesses since they have favorable terms and personalized service. Credit unions are very relationship oriented. So that just means that they really value people or customers that have a lot of products with them. So let's just say you have a personal account with them. You might want to have a secured card with them. You might want to have a certificate of deposit. You might want to have a share loan or an installment loan or a pledge loan in the case of Navy Fed. Just little ways to basically reinforce the relationship you have with them. That way they can see that you're serious about doing business with them when you go to apply for credit, and you have better chances of getting approved. So anytime you're going to open a business bank account, you want to have a few things in order. Number one, you want to have your LLC documents, your operating agreement, your articles of incorporation, your EIN, all right? And you want to have 2 forms of ID. Usually they're going to want to see, your passport. They might want to see that, you have a bank statement from another bank. But usually just the business documents and the passport. With the case of Chase, they're usually going to want to see that you have a way to verify your U.S. address as well. So they might just ask for a utility bill, like I said, a bank statement from another bank or with their bank, anything that shows that you have a physical address in the U.S. So there are really 3 main levels of banks that a business can get funding from. Okay, we call these the 3 tiers of banking institutions. You've got your credit unions, your regional banks, and your national banks. So credit unions, we just kind of touched on. These are basically member-owned financial institutions, all right? They're not like the big banks that are owned by shareholders. They are owned by their members, and that's why you pay a membership fee anytime that you join up, as in the case, when you see with PenFed or with Navy Fed, you're usually paying some sort of very small fee, $5, $20, in order to get membership with that institution. Now, these guys are really focused on the economic benefit of their members, okay? They don't have shareholders that they're trying to please. So like I mentioned earlier, building a relationship with these guys is a really good idea, especially if you're trying to get some sort of credit from them, some kind of funding, whether it's personal or business. The more products you have with these credit unions, the better. And if you just click on any one of these links here, you're going to see, I'm just going to bring up a website, ibank.net. This is basically a database of all the banks in the United States. So if you're looking up a bank in your state, let's just say we want to look up credit unions. You're going to click on credit unions here, and you will see a whole list of credit unions. Now, if you go over to the bank map, you can actually search each state and all the banks and credit unions that reside within the state. And the reason why this is important is because, let's just use Florida as an example. When you are opening up bank accounts, you're usually going to have to open them up within the state of your business, unless it's with a national bank. So if you're going with Chase, if you're going with Bank of America, Citibank, then you can open up accounts. In most cases, you can open up accounts in any state, all right? But if it is with a regional bank or if it is with a credit union, usually they're going to require you to open up what is called a foreign entity. And what this is basically just a way for your business to be able to legally go into another state and do business there. And by doing business, I mean opening up bank accounts. So you would have to get another registered agent in the state that you want to do business with, attach it to your current business in the state that you incorporated in. And that's going to give you the ability to go into other states and open up accounts with banks that may not be in your incorporation state. Now, the second tier of banking systems are called regional banks. Now, these are just banks that are not as big as national banks, but they're bigger than community banks. And this just means that they usually reside in different regions of the United States. So, and the third tier is the big boys. These are the national banks, okay? These are the big banks that are owned by shareholders. These are the Chases, the Cities, the Bank of Americas. These banks are more concerned with your credit profiles, your credit score, the structure of your credit profile. Obviously, you still want to build a relationship with them. This is going to help with any bank. They have more stringent eligibility criteria. Now, if you want to find the location of any national bank in the United States, click on this link here, and it's going to bring you to the branch, the bank branch locator. All right, you can look up by your by bank if you have the name of the bank you were looking for. You can look up by state. As you can see, there's all the biggest banks in the United States here. All right, if you just come on up here and you type in your zip code, let's just use a random one here. It's going to bring up a map, and it's going to show you all the big banks in this area. Super valuable resource if you want to know where your banks are and what are closest to your states of incorporation, or whatever it is that you live in the United States. A very good resource to have. All the education is here for you. We don't leave anything under the mats. Now, one of the most undisclosed ways that banks are watching your activity is by monitoring the amount of deposits and the balances of your business checking account. So this is your bank rating. Now, banks all have an internal scoring system that they don't really make public, they don't really disclose to you, but they're watching you and they're checking out on your cash flow and seeing how much money that you have there by looking at your daily average balance. So these are the ratings here, starting from a low 4 all the way up to a high 5. These are basically ways of lenders knowing that you have business cash flow and that you have enough that you are capable of handling your business debt. Bank accounts with low average daily balances or multiple NSF charges. So if you are paying bills through your bank account, or you're making deposits and for some reason you don't have enough to cover the deposit, you're going to get an NSF charge, non-sufficient fund fee. And when you start to have multiples of these, this can get you denied for funding. If you're in the low 4 region, this is enough to get you funding, but you're probably going to get low limit funding, and they're going to look heavily on your personal credit profile. And the more you move up the tier ladder, the less they start to look at your personal credit score. And, it becomes less of a weighted factor in determining your funding eligibility. They look at this as a way for you to be able to cover your business debts, your business expenses, and the ability to handle credit. So a low 4 rating is anywhere between 1,000 and 3,999, mid 4, 4,000 to 6,999, high 4, 7,000, 9,999, and so on. So it's important that you're making regular deposits, especially in that 3-month period after you open up your bank account and before you start applying for business credit, because you want to optimize the ability to get large limits of funding. So any money you can put into an account is obviously good, but you want to work your way up this tier ladder. You want to demonstrate to these banks that you have the ability to cover your business expenses. And if they issue you credit, you have the ability to pay it back. Much like your personal credit score, you have 3 major credit bureaus on the business side that come up with your business credit score. First one is Dun & Bradstreet, and this is going to give you your Paydex score. It ranges from 0 to 100, and it measures your business's payment history to vendors and creditors. As you'll see in the next few slides, once you start getting into net 30 accounts and you're building up your business credit profile, you're going to be building up your Paydex score. Anything over 80 is considered good. Anything less than that means that, maybe there's something wrong here. Maybe you're not making on-time payments, and this is going to hinder your success in getting business funding down the road. So the main goal is to get to at least 80. If you can get up to 90, that would be ideal. That puts you in an excellent range. Now, if you want to check your Paydex score, you can just go to Dun & Bradstreet. You're going to apply for a DUNS number. We'll get into that on another slide. Or you can just go to NAV.com. All right, you can click on this link right here, and it's going to direct you right to NAV.com. All right, you can go in here, make a profile, and it's basically a service where it's going to house all of your business credit scores under one roof. So you've got your Paydex score with Dun & Bradstreet. Now you can get into your IntelliScore Plus, and you're going to get this through Experian Business. This one ranges from 1 to 100, all right? The higher the number, the better the score. So same thing, it's recording your payment history, public records, liens, judgments, and your overall credit usage. A score of 76 or higher is considered low risk. So that's what this score is basically judging you on, is how risky you are looking to lenders. Are you considered a high risk in the department of paying back your debts? Are you considered to be a credit-worthy business? You can check your IntelliScore Plus score from Experian Business, or same thing, you can go to nav.com. I do suggest this because you're going to get all of those credit scores on the same page, and it just makes everything a lot more simple. And it's going to be a lot cheaper than if you were to go pay for a service from each individual bureau. And the third business credit scoring model is your Equifax Business business credit risk score. Okay. So this just basically judges you on how risky you are to lenders. All right. It predicts the likelihood of severe delinquency. So anything over 90 days late on any vendor accounts that you have, or if you have any charge-offs in the last 12 months, this is all going to go on your business credit risk score. So this is a little bit different. The range is from 101 to 992. And if you want to check this score, you can go to Equifax Business, or of course, you go to nav.com. Now, the infamous nav.com, this is what we've been talking about. This is definitely a highly recommended service that I suggest that you use. Just keeps everything in order. That way you don't have to get all these subscriptions from different credit bureaus. So there isn't a NAV credit score, right? NAV doesn't have its own proprietary score. It basically just provides access to all of your scores with Dun & Bradstreet, Experian, and Equifax. So what they do is they basically consolidate all of your credit scores on one program, making it a whole lot simpler, a whole lot easier for you to just log into one account and get everything right there. And the beauty of NAV is that it has a credit building service. So NAV Prime is a business credit building service designed to help entrepreneurs monitor, improve, and grow their credit profiles by reporting 2 key trade lines. All right. So you sign up with this account, you're going to pay a subscription service, and you're going to get access to 2 trade lines. Now, the first trade line is a NAV Prime charge card. So basically, just like the way a Amex Platinum would work or a Amex Gold, this is a charge card that helps your business build credit by reporting your payment activity to major credit bureaus. All right. So get the card, make regular on-time payments, and you're going to boost your business credit score. Very simple. And the second trade line is just through your subscription payments. So like I said, you're going to sign up for the service. You're going to pay a monthly fee. I believe it's $50 a month. And every time you make an on-time payment for the subscription, it is going to report this to the major credit bureaus. So if you're willing to pay the subscription fee, this is a good way to just add positive payment credit history to your business credit profile. So you can, I don't see the link here actually. You've seen all the links in the last few slides. You can click on one of those links, go to nav.com, go sign up for NAV Prime, and you will be on your way to building business credit. We already touched on Dun & Bradstreet and how to get your Paydex score. Now, in order to do this, you're just going to go to dunandbradstreet.com and you're going to get this number. This way, you're able to retrieve your Paydex score. You're able to report your on-time payments. And, this is just going to be an easy way for you to help your business borrow without a personal guarantee. This should be the first thing you do when you get your LLC. You want to sign up for your DUNS number. Usually takes about 30 days or so. Sometimes it can take longer. If it does take longer, you can always contact them on the website. Just contact their support team. We've got the link right here. You can click on this. It's going to bring you to the website where you can go and apply for your DUNS number. Now, when you are building business credit and you are trying to apply for business credit with your EIN, you're going to need to build up your business credit profile. And we do this through vendor accounts. Now, a Net 30 account is a form of vendor account. This is basically where you are going to sign up for a service or a product, and the vendor or the person or the company that's going to give you credit is going to put you on a Net 30 term. Now, that just basically means, let's say you purchase a service or a product from a vendor like Quill. You're going to purchase something there, and it's going to give you 30 days to make the payment for that service or product. Now, when you're first starting out and you don't have any sort of business credit profile built up yet, it is very common that some of these vendors will ask you to basically pay for your products up front. They may want you to build up some sort of a payment history before they'll start issuing out these lines of credit. Now, generally, these vendor accounts don't require you to use your personal ITIN or your social security number. Usually, they're just going to want to see your EIN. They want to see some business details and maybe even a 411 listing just so that they can see your business is legit. These Net 30 accounts, usually you're going to get like $100 accounts. They're not going to start you out with anything significant until you start building up your Paydex score. And in order to do this, you will need at least 5 vendor accounts in order to generate a Paydex score. Now, I've laid out a list here of 18 different vendor accounts that you can get with your ITIN that have Net 30 accounts, as well as some revolving accounts, which is just basically means a credit card. If you found some that aren't on this list, just send me an email and I can add them in there because, sometimes you can't go through all of these companies and find something that relates to your business. Now, once you have 15 trade lines reporting, this is when you can start to apply for corporate credit cards. But you want to keep in mind, there are some best practice guidelines that I want you to follow, because if you don't, you're going to raise some red flags with your account, with your business, and this could inhibit you from getting business funding, all right? So anytime you're starting out, I know a lot of people just want to load their profile. They want to go out there and get as many vendor accounts, as many Net 30s as they can, but you really want to limit these. You should be only getting 3 to 5 new trade lines at one time, right? If you're just starting to build business credit and you go out and get 10, 15 accounts right away, Well, this is going to raise red flags, okay? Banks are going to see this, and it's going to look like you are going out there and you're trying to build credit too fast, or it's just going to look suspect that you're just trying to get so much credit at one time. So the easiest way to mitigate this is by gradually increasing the amount of trade lines you have over time, all right? And why do we want to do that? Well, let's look at payment history. Lenders and vendors like to see at least 3 to 6 months of consistent on-time payments before extending more credit or considering you for larger corporate credit cards, all right? Much like your personal cards, if you go out there and you go to apply for so many cards at one time, they are going to deny you because you are trying to get too much credit at one time. And to be honest with you, if someone's coming to you and they're borrowing money from you, and then they go to their buddy and they borrow more money from him, and then they go to their mom, they ask her to borrow money, well, it looks very suspect. It looks like this person trying to load up on cash, load up on credit before they can make a fast break for it. Now, if you're someone who absolutely needs a business credit card for your business, and you want to separate your personal from your business, and you don't have access to any business cards yet, a secured business credit card might be a good option for you. Now, this works just like any other personal secured card where you're going to make a deposit and you're going to get a credit limit of the exact same amount that you deposited. With this Bank of America card, it requires a minimum of $1,000 for your security deposit, and this could just help you build up your credit history. Now, I do suggest that you really want to take your personal credit profile into consideration, because when you are applying for business credit, banks are going to heavily rely on your personal guarantee. If your business is not close to generating $2 million in revenue and you have a thin personal credit profile, then I wouldn't even waste a hard inquiry on one of these, because you want to save those for building up your personal. If you start adding cards like this on the business side and you're getting hard inquiries that are going on to your personal credit profile, then you're going to have less room to apply for other accounts on the personal side. And that's going to hinder your progress, especially when it comes to, getting a Chase card. You want to stay within that 524 rule parameter. That way you don't lock yourself out of that ecosystem, because Chase has some amazing cards. They have a great travel reward system. You can earn a lot of points with those guys. You can travel for free, get those business and first class flights. So unless you're somewhere close to getting business credit on a non-PG basis, then I wouldn't focus on this so much. But it is there for you as a last resort. If you absolutely need a business card just to keep everything separate, then you can apply here. Just click on this link down below. It's going to take you to the application page for the Bank of America Business Secured Card, and you can just go through that and make your application. Now, one of the most powerful tools in the credit building industry is CreditBoards. And what this is basically a database or a website that consists of users that input their data points whenever they apply for credit cards. Like I mentioned earlier, when you're applying for credit cards, especially on the business side, you really want to limit the amount of hard inquiries that you're going to get on your personal credit profile. So when you're starting out, we always suggest to go with the Capital One secured card, or if you can get the Capital One Platinum, because Capital One reports to all 3 credit bureaus. And when you're starting out, this is key because you want to build up credit history in all 3 bureaus. But once your profile is seasoned and you're starting to apply for other credit cards with other banks, you want to limit the amount of hard inquiries that you get on your personal side. So that's why this website is super valuable. You can go on there and you can look up by state other people's credit card application data points. You can see which bank they applied to. You can see which credit bureau they pulled. Although banks tend to have a general list of credit bureaus that they pull from when they pull your credit reports, when you apply for credit cards, this can actually vary based on whatever state it is that you are applying from. So wherever your US address is, this could change which credit bureaus that these banks actually look at. So that's why it's important to look at other people's applications. That way you can get a better idea of what credit bureaus these banks are going to pull just based on where your US residence is. You can actually see the credit limits that they got approved for, or if they got denied for them. You can see the credit scores that they applied with, and then you will often see little notes. People will usually post that I applied for this, I had 1 charge off, or I had 2 late payments. These are all very valuable data points that can help you with your credit card applications. Click on this link here. It's going to bring you to CreditBoards. I actually did another lesson on this in the Travel Rewards Mastery course. You can see it if you're not a member of Travel Rewards Mastery. There is a preview lesson in the US Credit Accelerator right down at the bottom of the lessons, and it's going to take you to this beautiful website right here. So let's just go through a quick example here. All right, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to look up a state. Let's go to Florida. Click on here. I'm not going to choose any particular credit bureau. Date applied, we'll leave that open, and we will see. I'm not going to choose anything. Let's just go ahead and update this. All right, we've got an application here. So this person here applied to Navy Federal Credit Union. That's what NFCU stands for. They applied from Florida, and the credit bureau that they pulled was Equifax. We know that. Date applied was November 2023. They were approved with a credit score of 713, and they got $16,000. So that's pretty good. Credit limit increase from 10K to 16K using the love button. Okay, so this is actually, they already had an account. This is a credit limit increase application, and they went from 10K to 16K. All right, so this person applied for the Chase Sapphire Preferred card, great starter card for earning travel awards, transferring your points. They applied from Florida, obviously. They pulled Experian. They were approved with a 770 score, and they got 15,700. So that's not bad. That's actually pretty good. All right, let's look at a business card. Consumer State, Florida, pulled Equifax. Okay, so you can see here, they actually pulled a different credit bureau on the business side. This is very common. Here they pulled Experian for a personal card, but on the business side, they pulled Equifax. All right, so that was applied for in 2021. They were approved with a 770 and they got a credit limit of 6,000. So that's a pretty low limit on the business side. This could have been for a few different reasons. Either they had a thin personal credit profile, maybe they applied for this account and they had a low daily average balance in their business account. Any one of those two things could affect this, because I mean, 6,000, that's pretty chintzy, I'll say that. Bank of America business card, Florida, they pulled TransUnion. They weren't approved, they got denied. They had a score of 647. Very low. You're not going to get approved for, especially on the business side with something like that. Obviously, no credit was attained there. Denied for lack of established revolving credit references on my personal credit profile. So this is why I always talk about making sure that your personal credit profile is stacked up. Okay, you want to have a variety of revolving accounts. You want to have credit cards. You want to have installment loan accounts. You want to have high limits on these things. You want to get those credit limits as high as possible by getting credit limit increases and just really beefing up that personal credit profile. So they got what they deserve. They applied with the 647. This is probably someone who didn't really know anything about the credit game, and they were just testing the waters. So you can rip through this website, do a little bit of research based on the state that you're in, wherever your U.S. residence is. You can just start to see the patterns with all these applications, what people are getting approved for, what they had on their credit profiles, if they disclose that in the comments. Amazing tool that can really help you with your funding process and building up your personal credit profile to help you get there. Now, if you want to join our mentorship program, where we are teaching foreigners and non-U.S. residents how to access the U.S. credit system so that they can build up their personal credit profiles and help them qualify for business credit, all right, open bank accounts without traveling to the U.S., accessing credit cards, earning a shitload of travel awards so they can travel in business and first class for free. I'll leave the link down below. It'll direct you right to this page right here where you can watch this quick little video of me talking to you. And you'll just fill out a few little details about yourself. And if you qualify, then you'll be able to book a call with me and we will go over the program details with you. And I'm basically going to tell you how I can change your life. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, hit the subscribe button, share it with a friend, give me some likes, give me some love, and I'll see you on the next one.